Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. As promised, I am live and inshallah I'll be taking your questions if any. If any of you joins and asks a question live. I also have some questions pending that I will be tackling in a moment. So let's begin. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And we are live. After 2 weeks, we are live finally. And we are looking at some very interesting questions tonight. One of these questions actually is extremely interesting, and I'll be tackling it at the end of this live cast, which is about the Transgender Act of Pakistan, which was originally introduced in 2018. And there were some amendments that were introduced afterwards. So, yeah, I'll inshallah be tackling those. So, without further ado, let's start with the first question of tonight, which is if slavery has been abolished by Islam, why are there still laws about slaves in books of Islamic law and jurisprudence? This is a very interesting question. Well, it is interesting and it is, please excuse me for saying this, but it is also stupid. Yeah, it's a stupid question, really. When Islam came, slavery was everywhere. If you pick up any book of history, which nation can you show me from history which did not adhere to slavery, which did not use slavery as means of expansion, as mean of colonization, as means of, well, even functioning at the very basic level? All societies of the past have primarily functioned on slavery as an institution. And so slavery was an institution. It is a historical institution. And you can't really turn around and say, well, why does Islam have slavery laws in it? Well, because Islam came in a time when there was slavery. It was rampant. The institution of slavery was there. And so it had to address it. It's not like it came in a vacuum. It had to address questions of shurb al-khamr, alcohol drinking, of zina, of fornication, adultery, all the things that were rampant in that society. It slowly, gradually abolished all of the evils. Islam abolished all of the evils. It abolished slavery as well. But it had to be addressed at that time. And war slaves, that is one form of slavery that is still ongoing. Okay. Now, lots of guys who ask me this question, or lots of guys, lots of girls and guys, the so-called modern thinkers, the so-called liberal thinkers of today, when they ask this question, I often turn around and ask them, do you know about Abu Ghuraib, prison of Abu Ghuraib? When America, United States of America, invaded Iraq after 9/11, they captured people, men and women, from their homes. They brought them to a prison. That prison was called Prison of Abu Ghuraib. And just like Guantanamo Bay, where laws from international treaties and other basic human rights laws did not apply. Do you even know the methods of tortures that these guys created specifically for Abu Ghuraib prison? I have written about this. The research paper that I wrote on prison of Abu Ghuraib was rejected by the journals. It wasn't published anywhere. Then I mellowed it down. I dialed it a notch down, and I wrote a paper about the clash of civilizations, starting from pre-divided India till today. in the backdrop of 1911, primarily basing my thesis on the book by Samuel P. Huntington called Clash of Civilizations. And even that paper was rejected by journals. And finally, there was this online magazine that picked it up and it published it. It's still available on my website. If you want, any of you want to read it, it is still available on through my website. So you can go there. You'll have the link on the publications page, and you can read through it. I have written about this. The war slaves, slavery in form of war slaves, is still rampant. When one country invades another country, or two countries are involved in a war, the Fatih, the conqueror, the country that wins the war, takes the other country's warriors and sometimes even civilians as war slaves. So the laws are there, how to treat them, what you can do with them, what you cannot do with them. It is still written in the books of law and jurisprudence. It is a technical discussion. Things that have been abolished still exist as far as the technicalities of law are concerned. If you talk to a lawyer and you pick up books of law from their library, these will have laws and discussions about laws that are very ancient, probably from laws of 1800s, early 1900s. And so if you tell the lawyer, oh, but these things have been abolished, these things are no longer in practice, why do you have this book? He's going to tell you to get out of his office because you're not a lawyer. You're not. These people who pose these kinds of questions, oh, if slavery was abolished by Islam, why are there still discussions about war slaves and about slaves in the books of jurisprudence and Islamic law? Well, these people are absolute ignorants. They haven't studied law. They haven't studied, well, they're not academics or scholars to begin with. So this is really a stupid question. Pardon my language. There are technical discussions in our books of jurisprudence about slaves, about how to treat them, about whether you can have a child with a slave, with a war slave, whether you can have sex with a war slave. All of these technical discussions are there. Doesn't mean that you go and invade a country today and get war slaves for yourselves and bring them home and have sex with them and orgies with them. It doesn't mean that. But who knows? If there is a war, like I said, war is a reality of the world. All other forms of slavery have been abolished by Islam. And this is actually the last sermon of the Prophet ﷺ, in which he said, no Arabi has superiority over an Ajami, no black has superiority over a white guy, or a white guy has superiority over a black guy. All of this was abolished. So you can't do trade in slavery. You can't buy and sell human beings, right? That has been abolished by Islam. Islam was the first religion on earth that abolished it, right? In Europe, in European history, you can still go back to the history books, and you can see that until 1900s, it was rampant. Slaves were bought and sold, but Islam prohibited it over 1400 years ago. So anyways, so that's one point. The second point about war slaves is that who knows if in future there is a war and the Fatih, the conquering country, gets war slaves. Who knows? If there is a situation like that, there are discussions about this situation in our law books as well. So what's the problem there? Really, it's naivete. When I see a post on Facebook saying, oh, look at these Maulvis, they're still talking about the slave girls, how to have sex with them. Can you have sex with them? Can you not have sex with them? These Maulvis, they have not yet gotten out of these sex slaves, and that they're this and they're that and they're primitive and blah, 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 and cries and hues by these so-called fifth wave feminists. Come on. I mean, really, get an education, This song by Led Zeppelin comes back to mind. I'm not trying to be insulting towards anyone, but really need to get you back to schooling. Baby, I'm not fooling. Gonna get you back to schooling. So get an education for God's sakes. Go and study at a university. You know, just study some books. And then come back and talk to us. Really, these are technical legal discussions. You have absolutely no idea about the ABC of legal system, let alone the legal system of Islam. Let alone the legal system of Islam. Now, I'm not going to sit here and give you a lecture in legal system, in penal system. I'm not going to do that. You need to get to a university. You need to pay good dollar. You need to pay good dime to get that level of education. Yeah, you're not going to get it for free. Really, if you're looking for a free lesson in the penal system of Islam, go elsewhere. Search elsewhere. So, dealt with this. Okay, did James Webb telescope nullify the Big Bang theory? Oh, this is a very interesting question. There have been articles floating around the internet in which some pseudoscientists did say this. They did say that the images that we have gotten from James Webb telescope actually nullify the Big Bang theory, because we now get to know that there are so many galaxies and so far away that this couldn't have been the result of one unified Big Bang incident. That's the whole thing. But however, I'm not a scientist. I'm not an astrophysicist, right? And so I'd be an ultra crepidarian to say something along these lines. But yeah, I mean, James Webb Telescope has told us many new things. And there is a video. Wait, let me share my screen. There is a video that I would like for you to look at. And where is it? Yep, here it is. So this is the video that I would like you to look at. And this is a video by the channel called The Secrets of the Universe. This is the channel called The Secrets of the Universe. The video is entitled How James Webb Broke Cosmology in Just 2 Months. And it is an excellent video on the topic. And I would like very much for you to go through this. I'm going to play just a little bit of it. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Max Planck.
In 1995, astronomer Robert Williams wanted to point the Hubble Space Telescope at a patch of the sky filled with nothing. Its image is known as Hubble Deep Field. As impressive as the Hubble
Pardon
Deep
the
Field,
ad, guys.
Don't just send payments
Pardon
out.
the ad.
Track each one till it arrives with Payoneer.
was astronomers' proto-galaxies merged to form large galaxies. This complex
Yeah, so basically he talks about, another ad.
Why, my
Wow,
Verbo
this
host?
guy is monetized
People
to the
come together
teeth.
from all over to enjoy my
process is thought to have taken about 1 billion years. But Webb's observations challenge this entire model. Astronomers say that they should be seeing lots of these little proto-galactic fragments that haven't yet merged to make a giant galaxy. In contrast,
they are seeing a few things that are already big galaxies.
One of them is GLZ 13, having a redshift of 13.1.
A redshift of 13.1. Okay, this is all very technical. But what I want you guys to do is to go through this, at least this one video. At least go through this one video, this video right here. Yeah, this video right here. Go through it. Go through this video, look at it, and you'll find out what James Webb Telescope has done to cosmology and the theory of Big Bang. And so, to begin with, the Big Bang is just a theory, all right? Nobody was there, right? Was anyone there when Big Bang happened? So we don't know for sure. These are all conjectures, conjunctures, or whatever the word is. Anyways, so so Big Bang has never been a theorem. People who have been trying to show it through. Okay, this is. Let me show once again for anyone who's interested. The channel is called The Secrets of the Universe, and the video is called How James Webb Broke Cosmology in Just 2 Months. All right, so please look at this video to get the answer to the question, did James Webb telescope nullify the Big Bang theory? Not exactly. Why? Because the consensus of the ulama, the ijma of the ulama, the consensus of the astrophysicists and the consensus of the physicists is on the Big Bang theory. Wa alaikum assalam, big brother, Saifullah Khan. Thank you, man. Thank you for tuning in. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So yeah, he joined and he left. Okay. So anyways, because the consensus of the physicists and astrophysicists is on Big Bang theory, they're going to fight tooth and nail to actually defend it. Big brother, Saifullah Khan, wa alaikum assalam. How are you, brother? Thank you for joining in. Thank you for tuning in. You got any questions, please post them in the chat and I will address those. Thank you so much. Okay, back to the subject. So Big Bang theory really is currently the predominant narrative of the physicists, of the astrophysicists as well. And so they're going to fight tooth and nail in order to defend it. So if you're thinking that it will be easily nullified, no, that's not going to be the case. That's never the case with the ijma. And so ijma is not just a concept that's related to Islam and Islamic studies. It's rampant everywhere in the academia, right? Okay. So should we get to the last one? Thoughts on the Transgender Bill of Pakistan? Okay, let's deal with this. First of all, the first thing you guys need to understand is that when the word is used transgender, in Arabic it is translated as mukhannas. And mukhannas is somebody who has all the attributes, all the basic sexual attributes of a man. That is a mukhannas. The man with proper manly genitalia, with all the attributes of male genetics, of male sex, has nevertheless some inclination towards the femininity, some delicacies maybe, or some kind of a mental disposition or a psychological inclination towards women. He is called a mukhannas in Arabic, in Lugha al-Arabiya, also in the terms of Islamic jurisprudence in fiqh and usul al-fiqh. And so there are very harsh laws about a mukhannas in the religion, because primarily a mukhannas is looked upon as somebody who has all the genitalia of the male, medically speaking, has an overwhelming presence of the X chromosome, which is a male chromosome, has an overwhelming presence of testosterone, can have an erection, can have an ejaculation, can impregnate women in most of the cases, but has a psychological or mental disposition towards the femininity. Most of the times, 99% of the times, these people, they are the ones who get sexual gratification through sodomy. And that is why there are very harsh laws regulating the ahkam of mukhannath. Because primarily all of this, and even LGBTQ, if you look at it, what is it in its crux when you do away with the smoke screens and with all the things that are surrounding it, this woke movement, so called, and all of this narrative, let's say, about identity and about personal human rights. When you do away with all the smoke screens, what do you get? You basically get a sexual orientation. You basically are saying that, okay, I'm a man, but I want to be sodomized. It is only through sodomy that I get my sexual gratification. A'udhu billah, homosexuality, the whole thing. And so I'm inclined towards this idea of womanhood, because naturally speaking, it is a woman's place to be penetrated. But when a man wants to be penetrated sexually, they are inclined towards this femininity. They are not genetically, they are mentally disposed towards it. There is no being genetically disposed towards it. There is no gay chromosome, so called. It has been nullified and rebutted. So that's what LGBTQ is. That is what the whole hullabaloo is about. And but they have rights. Even homosexuals, these people at least have a right to live. You can't go around marching in the bazaars and marching around and saying this should be halal, this should be allowed for us to be sodomized, and we want to be sodomized in public, we want to be married to men, we want to have a relationship with men, there are men who like to penetrate, there are men who like to be penetrated. All of this, legalize it. You can't say that in an Islamic country, right? No matter how meekly Islamic it is still an Islamic country. And so, but they have, you can't say that, but at the same time they have a right to life, to live, so they can live whatever they're doing at home. It's really between them and God. You don't have a Sharia law in Pakistan or in any other country, as far as I can tell, not even purely in Afghanistan. So if it were a Sharia country, a country governed by Sharia law, then the penalties could have been administered, could have been enforced, the hudud and the ta'zirat. But you don't have that law, so you can't go to different homes and knock at their doors and say, okay, come out, are you gay, if you're gay, okay, I'm going to kill you if you're gay. No, you can't do that, right? So the original act, and let's look at that. Let me share my screen again. And let's look at this first of all. Yeah, this is the transgender bill originally. And so if we go through this bill, the transgender bill of Pakistan, the only problem, there are, two or three problems with this bill originally, although I'm not against many of the clauses that are hereby presented. But there are two or three things that make it complicated, and make it kind of a ridiculous bill to begin with. So, yeah. So, yeah, I see you, Sabhai. I see you. You're still here. You're still online, right? So I'm talking about the Transgender Bill of Pakistan, which should be of interest to you, yeah? So, yeah, let's check it out. Yeah, so I was saying I'm not against many clauses that are presented here, like clauses like they have a right to get an identity card made, they have a right to a driver's license, they have a right to equal rights at workplace. Of course, why not? However, the problematic part is when this bill tells you that anyone can go recognition of identity of a transgender person shall have a right to be recognized as per his or her self-proved gender identity. So if somebody goes to Nadra today and says, and he's a man and says, I'm a woman, Nadra is bound to make an identity card of a woman for this guy according to this law. This is what this law says. This is what the law is telling you. This was the bill that was passed, right? So, yeah, this is a problem, right? You're basically telling people that they can go to Nadra, they can go to an authority that issues identification, Nadra or the traffic police for that matter, and you can tell them, I identify as a man or a woman based on your own whims and hues and cries, based on your own mental disposition. And you can tell them that, and they are bound to make issue you an identity based on your own wish. This is the problem with this law. Then there are multiple problems with this bill when it comes to laws of inheritance, because okay, let's talk about that for a minute. Let's say that there is this girl, right, and her father passes away. Now she goes to Nadra and says, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get an ID card of a man. I'm a woman, I'm a girl, but I'm going to go to Nadra's office and I'm going to get an ID card of a man. And once she is identified as a man, she gets all the inheritance of the father. So what are you going to do to stop that? Otherwise, these clauses, absolutely, I agree with these clauses. Protection of rights of transgender persons, share of transgender persons shall be determined as per the Gender Act. Okay, share of inheritance. For transgender male, the share of inheritance will be that of man. Now, this is the problem that I was talking about. The transgender female would go and identify herself as a male and get the share of the male, right? Rights to education, of course, why not? All of this is well and good, but the two problems that I talked about. No, I am not. Alhamdulillah. Jahaze, brother, no, I'm not. So, yeah. You see, there is no cognitive dissonance in what I'm saying. So try to understand this. And this is actually the amendment that was introduced. Let me show that to you as well. I think this one is it. Yeah, this is the amendment introduced on 15/11/2021. As per his or her self-perceived, in subsection 1, for the words as per his or her self-perceived gender identity, the words as per advice of medical board shall be substituted. So basically, the amendment says that instead of allowing the transgender person to choose their sex based on their own mental disposition, they should be evaluated by a medical board. So then that's all well and good when a medical board is there and a medical board determines whether this person is male or female. Transgender may be okay, but either male or female, it is determined by a medical board, then that's all well and good. So yeah, so understand this. What I'm saying is, and there is no cognitive dissonance there. lots of people intermingle different ideas together and then get confused about this. Every person, every person, even a kafir, has a right to live, right? You can't just go around killing people. It's as simple as that. In Islam, you cannot take law in your own hands. If you disagree with someone, now in Islam, homosexuality is forbidden. It's haram. We have this story of Qawm Lut, the nation of the messenger Lut, alayhi salatu wassalam, in which we get a clear idea of how Allah treated these people. And so we know for surety that this act of homosexuality, of sodomy, is haram in Islam. But that does not mean if I disagree with something that I take the law in my hand and go around killing people, no matter how deviant they are. This is a matter of law and court. And so no one in Pakistan is saying that they want to legalize the act of sodomy. If it were so, if somebody was saying that, then that should have been a point of clear departure where you could be very vocal about it, where you could go against it, be vocal about it, and say, this is absolutely, these people themselves, they know they can't do that. You can't really go around saying that the act of sodomy itself should be halalized, so to speak, should be should be legalized in Pakistan. What these people are saying, most of them, is that at least give us a chance at a life, at some sort of a life. And then that's fine. You see Khwaja Sara, you see many people, most of them are transgender, are mukhannath, but you see they are living in misery. They don't have equal rights. Most of the times they are denied jobs, and so that's all okay. If the government does something about that, I think that's fine. But if it is encouraging the act of sodomy and the act of homosexuality, then that is wrong. And that is what this amendment does. It says clearly that this act should be about the basic human rights of human beings. Mukhannas are also human beings. But at the same time, it should not, and I repeat, it should not promote the idea of homosexuality, of same sex marriage, and so on and so forth. Because it is not allowed in Islam. And so, as Muslims, we are opposed to that idea. Now, the point about, well, if you're opposed to this idea, what are you going to do? You're going to be violent towards these people, blah, blah, blah. Of course not. Islam does not say this. Islam does not say that you become violent towards others. It does not say that you take law in your own hand. Any law, even the blasphemy law, what we have been seeing around in our society, people trying to take law in their own hands. You can't do that. You have to take the matter to the court, right? So that's the whole point. And so, yeah, the original transgender bill, 2015, had a lot of problems with it. At least three fundamental problems, which have been addressed in the amendment proposed that you see on your screens right now. So, yeah. So I hope I answered the question somewhat. And if any of you have any other questions, you can shoot, and I'll try and answer them. Guys, give me 2 minutes. I'll be back. Just give me 2 minutes. And if any of you have a question, I'll address that. Okay, guys, I'm back. I see you guys are having fun between yourselves, huh? Hey, you guys want to join me live? You can get online from your cell phones if you want and not turn on your cameras if you like. I can send you guys the link to this live stream, and maybe if you want, you guys can join. Any one of you wants to join, I can share the link. You guys can come online, have a chat, whatever, hang out if you like. Meanwhile, let me dig around and see if I have any other questions that I can address right now. Okay, Facebook. Do I have any questions in my inbox? Okay, there was this question about this hadith about the mukhannas that the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said not to let them in, and then there was this mukhannas who talked about a woman's obesity in a vulgar manner, and the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam ordered that this mukhannas should be socially boycotted and made this mukhannas get out of Medina. Yeah, so this is about a specific mukhannas, right? This is about a specific transgender who was posing as a woman, whereas he was not. And so, yeah. So this is a specific hukum. It's not a general hukum. So yeah, this hadith should not be generally applied. This hadith is about a specific guy in question. Any other questions? Okay, let me check out my WhatsApp. So yeah, I guess this is pretty much it. And yeah. Let's end today's online session on this. Inshallah, next time, hopefully some of you join and ask online questions or not. Who cares, really? I will, inshallah, be doing this off and on. And I'll be, inshallah, doing. I have been trying to do these live sessions more frequently, but I got a tight schedule, especially these days, with many things happening on many fronts, and I'm involved in many projects and events. So yeah, inshallah, but I'll try and look into it and try to um, do live sessions more often as possible. And even if I'm not online each and every Sunday, I'll try and at least be online on at least 1 or 2 Sundays from each of the month. So yeah, inshallah. So thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. And next time around, let's see, inshallah, which other questions we get. Till then, take care of yourselves. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.